My latest purchase is this 1986 Mustang GT 5-speed car, which I found on Marketplace recently. And even though it's been really well taken care of and it's in great shape, it's an almost 40-year-old car, and there are some issues which I'd like to get sorted before I go ahead and do any upgrades on the car. I posted a video when I first bought it, and a lot of people recommended checking the timing, advancing the timing possibly to get a little more power out of it. So in this video, I'm going to check the timing. The heater core is bypassed because presumably it leaks. The AC is currently not working. The radio is an aftermarket radio and it's currently not turning on. And the fuel door has a manual override in case the electric isn't working, and that has become disconnected. Because of the recommendations you all gave me in the comments, I'm going to check the timing and possibly bump it up if I can. So I've got my old timing light. I've got it connected to the number 1 spark plug wire. And then the balancer is down here. See where that circle is? Well, just above the circle, that pointer right there, that is the where you line up the timing marks. Now the timing marks on this car are marked off on the balancer. I had to take the wire brush and just clean it up a little bit because it was surface rusted and couldn't really see where the numbers were. So now I'm going to start it up, and one other thing we need to do, there's this spout connector here. This has to be pulled out. So that has been pulled out. And what this wire does is the electronic timing adjustment from the car's ECM. So pull that out, and so now it will not be controlling the timing. So, and then the other thing is down there. That is a 1/2-inch bolt head that we will have to loosen so we can dial in the distributor cap. Being it's still pretty bright out and the way those numbers are engraved, I still couldn't see it with the timing light. So what I did was I made 2 marks there. The one on the left is on the 10-degree mark, the one on the right is the 20. So let's give it a try. Give it a minute to smooth out the idle. See, it is not even at 10 degrees. I don't know what the factory setting is. I thought it was 10, maybe it's like 8. It's below 10, so we definitely have some room to come up here. I'm gonna loosen up that bolt, and maybe we'll just go up a little bit at a time. I don't wanna just jam it all the way up to 14. Maybe we'll do something like 12, 10, maybe 11. Maybe we'll try that. Alright, so all I had to do was loosen the nut, the bolt head with this, grab this, turn it. So now we bumped it up about 3 or 4 degrees. Should tighten it down. Ended up putting the timing up to around 14 and then drove it around quite a bit and really feels much better. Definitely made a difference going from around 8 to around 14. No signs of detonation or pinging or anything, so I think we're good. The next thing, which I've been kind of dreading because everyone seems to say it's like a really rough job, but it's the heater core. So it was bypassed when I bought it, so I knew I was gonna have to do it. So I've got the heater core, and it's just gonna be taking a lot of screws, I guess, to get the dash pulled back. So I don't know if I can get it all done today because I have stuff to do later, but maybe at least get it started, and I'll time it. I'm pretty slow, as you guys know, if you ever watch my videos. I'm very slow. But, you know, hopefully it won't be too bad. I had to get a plate frame because, well, it just looks like it needs one, and this is kind of ugly how that looks there. So I found this on eBay. This is what I remember from back in the days. The Ford Motorsport. Like, I know they don't, it's like an outdated thing now, but you know, to get like a retro kind of frame for the car. That should fit pretty good. Covers up most of the ugliness. Fits pretty good. That U-bend is the bypass hose. 30 minutes into this, take the glove compartment out, the kick panel. There's a screw right there for the dash. There's one over here. That's out. 6 nuts total. There's this bracket and that bracket to pull the steering column down. I got to get to, there's going to be a bolt over here. And then I wasn't aware of this, but I just had to check one of the other videos. There's plenty of videos already on YouTube on how to do this, so I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but this console has to come out. And then I have to take the dash top off, and there's going to be some screws up there. I have to take the heater control out, and I think that's basically it. Took me about 2 hours total to get to this point. I undid the 2 AC connections because I put my gauges on the system, and there was only about 5 psi, and it wasn't even refrigerant, it was just like air. So I got to redo that anyway, so it gives me more room. I undid these, and then there was here and over here. That's where the HVAC box comes through. There's these 2 nuts. Take those off. And then in here, there was just more to it than what I was seeing in the videos, but I got to figure it out. I don't know if a lot of the other videos I've seen, there is a bracket directly above the steering column back there with a nut that you have to undo to pull this out, because I had taken all the other screws out and it wouldn't budge, really. So that's out. Heater control is out. One thing that was really tricky was the console. There's these 3 wire harness connectors that go to the console that are like impossible to reach behind there. So that took a while. And then the rest of it wasn't too bad. I had to pull this insulation thing away, so now you can see the top. This is the cover of the heater core, and there's a screw like that on every corner. 4 screws it looks like to get the cover off, and then the heater core should come out. And there it is, my friends. And now I just got to put everything back together. This is the bypass I took off. And there's supposed to be a restrictor so you don't get full coolant flow through the heater core. And you can see, luckily, it's still in there, which I was worried about because I didn't know where I was going to get one if it was missing. So these hoses, they look like they're in pretty good shape. So I'm just going to reuse them and reconnect them. These are the nuts with the built-in washers that attach on the fire, which is what secures the HVAC box through the firewall on the outside. So they had some kind of sealant on them which crumbled from being so old. So just have some of this butyl sealant left over. So just made a little seal with that because, you know, just to keep water from getting inside the car, because, you know, it can get wet under the engine compartment, in the engine compartment. So just doing that for good measure. Just to go over all the attachment points. So once you remove the dash top, which is pretty obvious, there's several screws under here, and then there's one on each side of each defroster vent. I don't know what this is. If anybody knows, shoot me a comment. Some kind of circuit board in here. I don't even know what that is. So then once the dash top is off, you've got screw 7mm here and here, one in the middle, 2 on each side of that speaker. Then you've got 7/16. There's one here. There's one over here. And then there's one on that side facing towards the outside of the car. Then there's the blue one. There's a blue nut. First of all, you have to get the steering column down. And that's pretty self-explanatory. There's, I think, 4 7/16 nuts to drop the column. And then above the column, there's that blue nut that secures the dash to the bracket. Also, heater controls have to come out. This was a real pain because there's 3 big harnesses, a light bulb, and the cable for the blend door. And all of them were, well, except the light bulb pulled right out. The rest of them, huge pain in the butt. Ford uses very, very difficult, like these, you know, very, very rigid clips that hold all their harnesses on. Very difficult to get off. I mean, this stuff is old. I'm trying to be as careful as I can. I don't want to snap anything off, so very tedious. Even plugging them back in, tedious. This plastic, I don't know if it's because it's old. There's no give to it. It's very different than GM. So I'm just, like I said, trying to be really careful. Inevitably, things are, I think I might have put this crack here. I don't know if that was there. A couple of like cracks here. These won't be seen, but this stuff is old and brittle. Just trying to do the best I can here. So, still have a bunch of things to do. I'm getting to the point where I'm almost ready to put the console back in. Three hours and 15 minutes later, everything is back together. Tedious, to say the least. But The only thing that went wrong is when I was trying to put this screw in that corner, I lost it down the defroster hole. So I had I found another screw. I kind of swapped it with one of the screws down here. So if it's almost the same. So if I find the correct screw, I can just swap it down there. Everything is good. I just have to turn everything on now and test it out. Lots of tools needed, but it's all pretty much standard stuff. Most of the bolts and nuts are standard. I did come across one, that blue one above the steering column was a 10mm. You know, standard Phillips screwdrivers. This this kind of swivel thing was a big help for getting that one above the steering column, that 10mm. This is very helpful in pulling out the push-in tree clips that hold the trim panels in, the two kick panels by the floor on each left and right. Yeah, magnet if you drop something. Could not get into the defroster vent with this. I would need a totally flexible one. Maybe I'll try that one day. This is the old heater core. Very obviously leaking. Pretty bad. I don't know why they all do this, but I think they all do this. Let's see how long the new one lasts. Hopefully, as soon as I have the car, at least. This is not something I would want to do again, but now knowing exactly how to do it, I could probably do a little bit faster. 5¼ hours for me, that's probably pretty good because I'm really, really slow. I see people saying it takes them a week. I mean, I don't know how that's possible unless you're doing 1 hour a day. But then there's other guys who say they can do the whole thing in 2 hours. That seems wild, but maybe it's true. But if I can do this, anybody can do this. I mean, no special knowledge needed. There's a lot of videos on YouTube. I kind of looked at several of them and pieced together the best parts for myself. For now, I just put the AC lines back the way they were. Probably deal with that in the spring. And it's already October. Ironically, it feels like one of the hottest days of the year today while I'm doing a heater core. See anything dripping yet, so that's good. No dripping in here. Thank goodness. the bottom. Yeah. All right, it's all good. It's all good, 100%. When I bought this car, I remember the guy saying something about the radio, and it was something like if you put fuses in it, it'll work. So I found 2 glass fuses in the ashtray thing. There was 2 fuse holders under the dash, so I put the fuses in. Radio comes on, but no sound through any of the speakers. So then I go in the back, and I know that I saw these speakers and this little amp. So it was not turning on, right? So then I go up front, figure let me check by the battery or vicinity, and I see this little circuit breaker thing here, and both sides of it are dead. So then I see this, and this was kind of just tucked under, and it was taped off. So I stick this in here to connect it to the positive on the battery, and then I'm getting power back at the amp. But then I'm also getting a red light which says protect, so there's a problem. So then I ohm out the ground, which is this black wire which goes behind here, and it looks fine. It looks like it's connected. Pull this up. A little screw right there. But apparently that's not making good contact with the body of the car. So I run a jumper, this jumper cable, and then I turn on the power, and amp turns blue. We connected one speaker just to see if it works. So we'll try that now. Wow, still nothing. Oh, there it goes. That was weird. Okay, so it does work. All right, so seems like everything works, and all I'll have to do is run that ground to a better spot, and I should be good to go. But then the question remains, why was it all disconnected? Was it because of the bad ground? Or was there some other reason? Was it draining the battery? Why was everything disconnected? So I'll have to keep an eye on that. I had to take some of these plastic panels off. So what I did was, there was already a ground post here. So I took the panel off. This will just run down, and there's a space out of the bottom. Turned on the power, and the amplifier seems happy now. It's lighting up blue, which is normal. And while I had this off, this fuel door, manual override. So there's a button in the glove compartment, and it's one of those deals where you have to press it a few times sometimes to get the fuel door to pop open. So I don't know if it's on its way out or what the deal is. So this thing here was just loose. It had ripped out. It was just kind of loose. So while I had this off, I was able to reattach it. That's the attachment right there for the, there's an electrically operated solenoid that pulls this cable. And then there's this as the manual override. So it had just pulled it out of the housing back here. So what I had to do was, I'll show you how it works now. You can just pull on this, pops it open. I had to take those 2 screws out there, pull the housing out, and feed that fishing line wire through, and just tie a little knot. It was a little tricky. It was like a pretty decent spring in there I had to work with, but got that all back together. Got the grounds back in, so now I'm just gonna be putting the panels back. I had to move the spare tire, put that back, and hopefully at this point we should be good to go with this amplifier. Thanks very much for watching.